Welcome back to Northman Reviews and Age of Apocalypse, of course. Amazing X-Men #2, drawn by Andy Kubert and written by some guy that I don't really care about. It's fine. It's a fine comic. It definitely damaged, water damage, Great Flood. Go watch my other videos. It's all about that. So, where were we? This group of X-Men, Quicksilver, Storm, Banshee, Dazzler, Exodus, Iceman, 6 of them. While Rogue's team is out trying to stop some culling, some actual humans being, eradicated and murdered en masse, this team went to a different part of the country to help with an actual evacuation with Sentinels and everything. And then there's this bad guy, Abyss. He was kind of introduced, but not really. He's a Horseman of Apocalypse. And this other kind of cult-like holy man group called the Madri, something like that. I don't know, but that's where it ended. Another like some villains confronting these guys. It's all very interesting, I'm sure. Speaking of very interesting, this cover is not. I don't know what's going on here. It's not very eye-catching. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. Not much going on here. I've seen better, especially by Andy Kubert. He's usually good with covers, but I'm not digging this one too much. All right, so there's this kid who, at the beginning of the last issue, he's just a human, and he was captured by the evil mutants for whatever reasons. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know. They'll explain it through here. So many words, so much detail. I mean, this is actually kind of good detail with the rats and all this junk back here. Took the time to do that. That's kind of nice. And he's talking with Abyss here and kind of just freaking this kid out. Like, I don't know, his body is kind of weird. He's kind of formless almost. It kind of reminds me of like the Venom symbiote kind of stuff going on, but not. And Abyss is just being evil, it's like, hold on to hope, that's what I feed on. And there's Abyss enveloping this kid with all this weird goo, ribbony shit. I don't know. He's just kind of like, look how evil and terrifying I am, kind of a deal. Fabian Nicieza, that's the writer. All right. Well, okay. All right, so back with the X-Men. Arrival of the Empire's holy forces who confronted this group of X-Men. There's a lot of people here I don't know. I think that's Yeti. There's Box from Alpha Flight, I think. That's Copycat. It's supposed to be that Vanessa character from Deadpool, I think. And they're, I don't know, more talkers. You are non-believers. Blah, blah, blah. You're traitors, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, whatever, let's fight. So Exodus here, whose powers are multiple in nature and multiple and unknown. I don't even get what's going on. Shoots a blast at them and it rocks them back. Good job. But while that happens, it's very hard to tell here unless you're reading it. He tells these two, Copycat and Box, to like, hey, you have a mission. Go take off. So there they are running. Quicksilver's like, we can't let them get away for reasons that I don't quite understand. Cool Sentinels back here, who aren't really paying attention to them much because they put a program in them to kind of ignore the mutants so they could... The X-Men could help with this evacuation. So there they are, hiding within the crowd, and Quicksilver's like, what are they thinking? They can't get away from me. But as he grabs this Copycat lady, she's a metamorph, like Mystique and Morph, and she turns into Wanda. Now, I just did a couple videos ago, of X-Men Chronicles #1, where it showed in Age of Apocalypse. I mean, it didn't show how she died. It happened off screen, but at the end, you see that, like, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, was dead. But she did not have this crown mask thing on here, so I don't know. Little inconsistency, but it doesn't really matter. They probably didn't know. They weren't all aware of what everybody else was drawing. But she does that to fuck with Quicksilver here, who gets kind of shot in the back, and then she's going to slit his goddamn throat with his knife. But it gets shot, and there's Dazzler doing a heroic pose. That's kind of cool. Look at that hair. Whoosh. It's like 25,000 feet long. It says, stop the impersonation, you're going to burn. But then these guys also somehow got control of the Sentinels, and they override its parameters, so the Sentinel attacks Dazzler. So Quicksilver and Dazzler down. Exodus comes flying in. He's like, you got to stop those guys. He's like, sorry, I got to protect you from these fucking huge death machines. This look on his face always kind of made me laugh. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I know you wanted to spare the Sentinels so they could help with the evacuation, but I don't know what they're not going to cooperate. But luckily, I mean, these Sentinels, they look more human. I don't know. That's always been kind of funny. But this is like a POV through the Sentinels, but then it gets like scrambled, and that's because Storm comes in with her lightning and electricity and electrical pulses that will disrupt the Sentinels for a little bit. So I guess they just stopped caring about these other guys. These guys, they just kind of disappeared. They're not really fighting them. Maybe it said what happened to them, but this seems, who cares? So Banshee's flying through. That's kind of a cool shot. Oh, the Madry got away. Banshee freaked out and went after him solo. The Madry is the main guy, I guess. Oh, fuck. And then he's just thinking about, how Magneto convinced him to come back to the X-Men after he retired. All very interesting. So he comes down and he finds the Cardinal Madry like upside down, strung upside down and dead. And it's Abyss who did it. And again, he announces himself, I'm Abyss, the latest and greatest horseman of the apocalypse. No one knows who he is. And he's like, okay, you're crazy. Yeah, this guy's kind of nuts, kind of in a Deadpool kind of way. But inside him, he has that fucking kid from the beginning, right? And he's like reaching out, and this kid is trying to get out. And Banshee's like, fucking Christ, mother of mercy. Boy, I went into an Australian accent. Mother of mercy, fucking Christ. Is that more Irish? And he said, this guy wants Magneto. I mean, he wants the son of Magneto, which I guess will in turn get Magneto. So he's like, go get Quicksilver, bring him here. That's who I want. So Banshee flies off, lands. Again, kind of a cool shot with these things. I mean, Banshee wore that cape in the original because it helped him fly, right? Did he always need to have that to fly? And these wouldn't fucking work. Who cares? Anyways, he gives him the report. He's doing like CPR. You think he could do it like 1,000,000 miles an hour? Like, that'd be funny. But he tells him he has a child. And this is supposed to be Quicksilver, but it looks like fucking Banshee with the coloring of the hair. But I guess for whatever reason, because he has a child, Quicksilver is like, okay, I'm definitely going to go. So they're speaking here, and this is a fucking weird drawing. I mean, she looks way tall and skinny, and these legs, and these look like Rob Liefeld feet if I've ever seen them. Know what I mean? So she's like, you can't go alone. He's like, all right. So she flies off, and they're going along, and he tells them to keep on with the mission. All right. So they go, open door. It's a trap. She's all thinking that, I guess, I thought these two were a romantic item, but it's just her who's kind of in love with him secretly, I suppose. And they're like, oh, it's an obvious trap, but there's a kid. And he's like, help me. You know, being pulled in. So Storm goes flying in. Quicksilver's after her. You think he would be able to catch up with her. No, in lickety split. No time at all. She got the kid, and then these fucking weird ribbon tendril things of Abyss grab onto Quicksilver, and he does something really fast and grabs everything and wraps him up so, you know, he wasn't taken by surprise. They start talking, and they mention, like, there's no substance to him as she tries to hit him, but there's nothing to hit, really. He's just kind of, like, just a void. You know, it's really, really kind of hard to explain. I get the idea, but no substance to him. But somehow, Quicksilver's able to punch him in the fucking face, and that hurts him somehow. Look at him, he's just lying there. His, like, body's all not forming together. And then they start talking about, you know, debating mutants and humans and all that. And who cares? And Quicksilver starts doing something. He says, makes him look into his own blackened soul. And I don't know what he does, but, like, Abyss kind of, like, collapses inside himself up here. It doesn't really, it's hard to explain here. I mean, sometimes it's hard for an artist to draw something like that, but you at least need the words to explain it if it's going to be such an abstract concept. They will never forget the sounds, the sucking and scraping noises of Abyss falling into the endless dimensional void of his own body. Okay, but how did that happen? How did he do that? So, easily enough, Abyss, being a horseman of apocalypse, he gets taken out pretty easily, saves the kid, they're all happy, they go back, kid's reunited with his parents back here, cool shot of the Sentinels, they're holding hands because they're going to go off into the forest and fuck, because why not? Happy moment. Dazzler says, hey, we figured out how to take care of the Sentinels, we reprogrammed, giving them new orders with a logic bind that says you have to prevent humans from coming to harm, and the secondary program is hunt mutants. So that conflicted one with the other, and they actually asked the X-Men if they would help to just protect the humans, because that's what their whole thing is. So they're like, cool, we did good. So that's kind of the end of this storyline, and it's only issue number 2. So what are they going to do in the next issues? Well, I'll tell you. In the first X-Men Alpha, I think, or was it X-Men, Amazing X-Men? Anyway, there was a villain who popped in the X-Mansion, and from that information, through a teleportation thing, they were able to start getting coordinates, and they figured out where the X-Men were going to be. So they're interrogating more people. This is Karma. I don't know anything about her. She's works at Heaven with Warren Worthington, and they're getting information out of her, how Gambit had met with them. Sebastian Shaw here had seen it. He was in the background somewhere. So they're just getting more and more information, figuring out where the X-Men are, like their headquarters are. And as they're torturing her, you know, instead of Karma, they should have just made it Psylocke. Psylocke is the only major character in like the main universe who didn't show up in Age of Apocalypse, like, at all. I think you could have had her be with Warren Worthington, since they were an item in the main universe. I guess. Could have done that. So, cool shot of Apocalypse, and they're like, okay, we know where they are. We're going to go, like, fuck them up, and I'm going to come, and we'll see who is truly fit enough to survive. And the next issue is Apocalypse versus Magneto. So that's exciting, right, Rusty? Rusty's down there. If you heard of him, he meowed his approval. So this opening storyline is kind of, you know, fine and basic and all. But yeah, the next issue, Apocalypse versus Magneto, that's what we're all excited for, right? I wish I could say it like panned out as good as we hoped. So we'll get to that issue soon enough. Oh, there's Rusty. But we got a lot more phase 2 of Age of Apocalypse, going through all the second issues. So thanks for watching. Give the video a like, and I'll see you in the next one.